Yo, what's good, everybody? We are back for Sisters Season 8, Episode 1, entitled Dead Man Walking. If this is your first time coming to my channel, welcome. If you are a returning family member, then you already know what it is and what it always will be. Be sure to like, comment, share, subscribe. Tell somebody to tell somebody if you choose to. But if not, just sit back, relax while we get into this messy thing. Now, as you can hear, I'm already laughing, okay? I am laughing because the premiere episode of Sisters, I don't think I've laughed so much for a season premiere episode. This episode was funny in many ways. They were on it, but let's just get into it. I'm not going in any particular order. I'm just going to talk about what I want to talk about in the order that I would like to talk about them in. Now, we're going to start with Detective Watts, okay? Now, Detective Watts, you fine. You are that. But you and your little friend, I forgot the other detective name, they really touched a nerve because they were incredibly disrespectful and degrading to all of the women. Let me start with Andy. Now, I know and y'all know that Andy Barnes is that hoe over there. Okay, we just gonna come out and say it. She is that hoe over there. She is a little thought pocket. However, Detective Watts, that was not your place to tell her that, sir. She is not down here for you to run her whole stats and facts. She is here for the possible murder of Gary Borders. That has nothing to do with who that woman has slept with, is currently sleeping with, and the unknown man that she will sleep with in the future, because y'all know it's going to be one. That's neither here nor there. The way that this man came at Andy, I was blowed. I was like, oh my God, he is really painting Andy to be exactly who she was, but that's not what she's here for. He was degrading to every person except Fatima. Now, what I'm not looking forward to this season is the continual propping up of Fatima. And we see that when Fatima is brought into the interrogation room with Detective Watts, he proceeds to tell her, I'm going to display it.
That my friend's wedding was going to end so tragically when my fiance and I decided to attend.
Oh, you're good. Maybe the best one yet.
Should I take that as a compliment?
Oh, absolutely. You're going to make a hell of a lawyer someday.
Now, what in that would let him know that Fatima is going to be a great lawyer? Not that she isn't going to be one, but what she stated, her response to him, did not prove that she would be a great lawyer. And this is something we have been dealing with. Sisters premiered in 2019. We have been dealing with Sisters for 5 years. I'm tired of it. Like, that is something I am not looking forward to. Even with Karen, when she was being interrogated, Detective Watts decided to bring up Fatima and Zach to her as if that had anything to do with the reason that she's there. You're questioning her because she was one of the people who was at the location that Gary was stabbed at. That's the reason why she's there. I understand that. But bringing up Fatima and Zach has absolutely nothing to do with this case, with Gary, and with the reason that Karen is presently before him. And that is something that I already know is going to be a continual theme and thread woven throughout this entire season, because they're doing the same thing over there on Zatima. No, I do not review Zatima because honestly, I do not like the show. I think it's a waste of time and space, but that's neither here nor there. Every 1.5 episodes, Karen's name is being brought up over there in the context that it shouldn't even be brought up in. But that's a whole nother conversation that I'm not going to have on this channel, but I just had to point that out. So everybody who was there except Hayden is being interrogated for being a possible maybe suspect or witness to this case. Everybody comes in. The men are treating these people like they have nothing else to do. So what it appears to be, everyone is stopping in before they go to work. Okay, cool. Hudson, if you watch or listen to our Sisters Keeper with me and Erica Vane, both of us was kind of on the same wavelength. Hudson is coming off that either one, he did it, or two, he's acting like there's something deeper between him and Gary relationship. That maybe there's a possibility that he may have a little crush on Gary and it's not being reciprocated. Like, I understand being concerned, but the way that Hudson was acting, it was giving very much, don't let my man die on me. That's the energy that Hudson was giving me. I don't know if y'all took it that way or maybe there was an inkling of that, but I just didn't take that him and Gary are just so close with their friendship that he would be responding the way that he was responding. His hair was all wet, like he had been running a marathon. I said, what is going on, Hudson? What is going on? But, we're going to leave that there. And then we see Zachary Taylor. Of all the people that's on the show, Zachary Taylor has been in the police station more than anybody. So the fact that Zach kept saying, lawyer, I need to talk to my lawyer. Baby, you can get up and walk at any time. No one is holding you here against your will. You are not a suspect. You are not a person of interest. You're not being detained or arrested. None of those things. You can get up and go. You don't even need a lawyer's presence, sir. I was just like, I'm not, I ain't gonna go there. But Zachary Taylor, you can get up and go at any given time. Now, this is the thing that got me about Zach. When Detective Hudson, it was the other man, who called his son Mute Michael, I would have lost it. Now, I definitely would have had the mindset that I am, in a police station. But the same energy that he had when the officer brought up Fatima, it behooved me that he didn't have that same energy about his son. I was like, okay, I'm going to put that to memory because there is no way you're going to call my son Mute Michael, knowing that my child is a special needs child. And for you to say that, I thought that line was so cruel. Like, I understand the detectives are trying to get under their skin, trying to get them to say something or act in a way that may prove that they have some, undealt with anger or whatnot. But I was like, you know what, writers, I understand, but that was way harsh. That was way harsh. In the words of my good sis Cher on Clueless, that was way harsh, Ty. You didn't have to go there. Now, the person who I believe held it down like they were supposed to was Danni. I still don't rock with sis like that, but Danni went in there smoking her vape. He told her, hey, you can't do this in here. Danni's response was, what are you gonna do? Arrest me for vaping? I said, Danni had the energy that was given on the movie Basic Instinct. For those who know, y'all know. When sis was in that room and she was being interrogated and she, gave that infamous, famous leg switching. We know it. She was smoking that cigarette. Oh, it was a vibe. Danni was on that level. I was like, you know what, girl, I can't stand you, but I'm feeling this. And then she messed it up for me. So once everyone left, and I'll get back to Andy and Karen in a minute. But I'm going to stick with Danni because for those who have been listening to me for a while, you guys know that season 7, the storyline that I was looking forward to was the storyline of Danni going to therapy. I thought it was a great storyline for women, Black women specifically, to show that there is another outlet for us when you want to talk to somebody who doesn't know you, who isn't biased, who doesn't have a dog in the fight, and can provide you with the tools to, really uncovering why you are the way that you are, why do you think the way that you think, why do you process things the way that you process, and why do you act in certain ways. And I was really looking forward to that. And I think, honestly, this is my opinion, they have done a piss poor job with that storyline. So we see that Danni is back at home and Danni is writing in her journal, which I think is a great thing. And she's kind of being, funny with it, not really taking it seriously. And then she has a moment where she says, Carisha wanted me to, be serious about this. And then there's a part where she begins to talk about the whole thing with Andy and Gary and how being so close to someone else's trauma is making her, think about her own trauma. And then when Tony comes, instantly, Danni puts that to the side and she automatically wants to have sex. And for me, as I stated earlier, we've been with these sisters for 5 years. We know that Danni is going to bone every Tom, Dick, and Harry. It's played at this point. I don't care if Danni ever has sex again that we can see. At this point, we need to understand, why is that Danni's default? What's the reason that she chooses to function at a high level in sexual gratification when it comes to her really dealing with her emotions, dealing with her feelings, dealing with her inadequacies and everything else that she may deal with as a person? The sex aspect of it is, who cares? Who cares at this moment? So I really did, initially, I felt like Tony's response wasn't as heartfelt as I would have liked it. But even when Erica was like, Tony's response was like someone died. And I had thought about that for a moment, because Tony kept saying, babe, you were just at the police station. Your friend is being interrogated for murder. Gary died and you want to have sex right now? And Danni was like, yeah. And I understand her not liking Gary. I understand that she didn't think much of him. However, to be that close to someone getting killed and your first thought is to have sex, that is a red flag to me. And I feel like that's a huge, huge problem. So I can appreciate the way that Tony handled that. That was not the time to have sex. If anything, it would make me look at my partner sideways, that you are even in a place that you want to have sex right now. And so we get to a moment with Zach and Fatima, and they're at home trying to, find out who really killed Gary. Fatima looking at Zach as if there's a possibility that he did it. She asked him, he denied it. He asked her the same question as well. I don't blame him, because if one or two people out of them that was going to kill somebody, I would have my money on Fatima more than I would Zach. So Fatima decided that her and Zach are going to find out who killed Gary. I said, writers, no, I'm sorry. That I do not want to see that for Zach and Fatima. If they can't do nothing else on this show, then just stick them over there on Fatima, because to have them crack the case when you have a detective and the Atlanta PD on the case, and you gonna tell me that Zach and Fatima, of all people, are gonna find out first who did it? Go jump in an empty pool, because no, I'm sorry, no, that's my stance on that. So we get to Karen while she's in the interrogation room, and back to Detective Watts. Not that what he said wasn't true, okay? Because she is pregnant with 2 babies, with 2 baby daddies. But that has nothing to do with the reason why this woman is here. And I love the fact that she let him know, don't let this twang fool you. I am an educated black woman. And I was like, you go, sis. And you know what really hit me with that moment? And I know that a lot of people overlooked it, or they may have been, applauding her with what she said. When you, sadly, and that is true when you talk about black culture and everything, when you deal with a lot of people who are from the deep South, who have an accent, who has a very country twang, depending upon where you come from, you speak a little differently, and people tend to associate an accent or a twang with lack of intelligence. And that's just not with this character of Karen. That's with anybody who's ever had to experience that. And I know a lot of people. I used to live in North Carolina, very small country town, and I have some extremely, and I'm talking about extreme to the 5th power, country talking ass friends, okay? And I love them to life, but some of them have had to deal with that because of the way they talk. People associate that with their intelligent level or how smart they are. And these are some of the smartest individuals I've been around. However, because of that, people tend to think less of them. So I'm glad that whoever wrote that put that in the script, because I think it's a wide known theme that people either just refuse to acknowledge, or they have it in the back of their mind and they just refuse to verbalize it. So I'm glad that Karen said that. I'm also glad that Karen did not make any type of scene when Fatima and Zach were brought up. I love the way that she handled it. What do they have to do with this? And just leave it at that. I really want, and I don't know if we're going to see it, but one of my hopes this season is Zach and Fatima are together, period. They're together. Karen does not need to be reminded. It doesn't have to be put in her face. Neither does she have to be put in theirs. And I think that the writers have continued with this, this trope of, we're going to continue this. people like it. No, we don't. We don't care anymore. Zach and Fatima are together. Let Fatima, she thinks she won. She thinks she got a prize in Zach. I don't know how, but that's her business. Let her keep that mess over there. Now, Fatima and Rich and Sabrina. I don't want Rich for her. I don't like Rich. I can't stand him. Rich makes me think of one of those men who just says the right things at the right time, but he really doesn't mean it. When we see Rich and Tony, Rich is in an uproar that their girls are being interrogated. It's all Andy's fault. If she never would have did this wouldn't be happening. And then when he gets to Sabrina, all he tells her is, I'm here. I ain't going nowhere. And I'm like, what is that? You were so enraged just a few moments ago that I would have expected when he got into Sabrina's presence that if he would have had more of a compassionate spirit, that he would have handled it with more grace than, I'm here, I ain't going nowhere. That doesn't make me feel comfortable, because he has shown us in the past that he is quick to show his behind when things don't go his way. So that didn't make me feel good for our good sis. But you know what? Rich is who she's choosing to deal with at this time. So we just got to deal with it. Now, one thing I will say, Pam, Miss Angie, Beyonce, baby, you looks amazing. Okay, she looks good, and she was gonna let me and the world know just how good she looked when she showed up at Karen's house. Now, before we get to Pam making her beautiful entrance in Karen's apartment, Karen is sitting on her couch and she's looking over her appointment book. She says a certain client wanted to have micros, and she didn't know why with that slick scalp that she has. I hollered. Because what? I thought that was so funny. And it's very rare that we see the character of Karen have a moment where she's being funny or humorous. It happens every blue moon. Every blue moon. But like I said, this episode here was just hilarious. And I really enjoyed it. It wasn't the best, but it was okay. It was okay for a first episode. Then we get to the highlight. Andy is having a conversation with Detective Watts. He is completely disrespecting this moment on all cylinders. He is being so disrespectful. He had more respect for Fatima, who is a paper pusher, than Andy, who is a lawyer. But you know what I said? This goes back to season 1. I don't know if y'all remember the character of Morris. Morris told Andy that they don't respect her. The men in the law firm, the people of the court, they do not respect Andy for her smarts. They do not respect Andy for the way that she conducts business as a lawyer. They deal with Andy because of the way that she looks and the way that she dresses and the way that she flirts with everybody. This sexual energy that she carries. So that has been Andy's makeup throughout this entire series. And like I said before, it's not that what Detective Watts was saying to Andy was false. It just wasn't his place to say because it had nothing to do with this case. And then lo and behold, we see fine Robin come in and save the day. Andy, don't you say nothing else. I am her representation. I said, you know what? Where you been at? That's what I want to know. Twin, where have you been? We've been looking for you, Robin. You know, waited so long to come back. You got Andy over here engaged to sorry, weak ass Jordan. Jordan, I like you. Okay, let me just say that. I like you, Jordan, but you're not the one. Okay, you're not the one. Robin isn't the one either. Now, even though I think Robin is fine as hell, Robin, I don't like him that much. I don't like him that much because I remember how he looked at Andy and treated Andy once he found out that she had sex with Paris. And then again, I never really thought that Robin was into Andy like that. I just think he wanted to smash just like everybody else. He ain't no different in my personal opinion. He's still a man. He had a threesome with Andy after knowing her for what? A week. Okay, so that's neither here nor there, but it was so good to see him. I didn't even know he was returning. A lot of people send me stuff. I don't like looking at things. I don't like to find out, what's coming up. Honestly, because I don't follow the show that deeply. I watch it. I support the talent on the show, like when they do other projects, but I don't follow Sisters like that. Like, I'm not into it like that. I just like to watch the show, talk about it, and move on with my day. But yes, that was season 8, episode 1, entitled Dead Man Walking. Oh, can't forget. In the episode, two things I missed. Hayden asked trying to skip town. I said, Hayden, did you do this? I don't put it past you, but I didn't expect you to be the one to do it. And then, this how dumb Hayden is. You did this at night. It is the next morning, and you're still in Atlanta packing a bag. Your bag should have been packed the moment that you decided that you was going to try to take somebody's life. And here comes Tamara. You have anything that you want to get off your chest? Why are you here? The last time we saw you, you were crying when Hayden saw you boning Gary in your phone. So why you got all this type of energy? No, baby, you don't deserve this energy. You don't deserve it. But Hayden, if you should have been gone, bro. That's how I know you're going to get caught. If you did it, or if you are an accomplice to this attempted murder. So as we see a Hudson running through the hospital, he's just so distraught, hair wet, clothes look like he ran through a damn sprinkler. We find out that Gary Borders is yet alive. He is yet in the land of the living. And I said, at this point, it doesn't even matter how the demon dies. The only thing that matters is the demon gets sent back to hell from which it came. We need Gary to go. As much as I love Cheeto and I love looking at him, Gary needs to go. Gary is still here. That bastard won't die. He just won't die. Oh my gosh. But I just hope this is not a who killed Gary all season long. Number 1, we don't care. Number 2, Gary is not that important. So I need them to get to what they need to get to, and quickly, so that we can move on and have interesting stories, or the best of their ability, as we complete season 8. But I want to thank you guys for listening. I miss y'all. We back. I want to thank everybody for praying for me, sending me words of encouragement. For those who don't know, I live in Florida, and we know we had Hurricane Milton come through and run amok in these Florida streets. Okay, I was without power for 9 days. My power literally just came back on this past Saturday morning, and thankfully I was at my mom's. But to come back home and deal with everything that you got to deal with hurricanes and stuff like that. So I just want to thank everybody for all of those things. So until next time, I will holler at y'all later, and y'all be safe out there. One.